Number 8. Dave VERBIST. In July of 2016, a Belgian man was sentenced to 25 years in prison for the brutal murder of a Danish woman in Madrid. 27-year-old Anne Strand Jensen had arrived in Spain for less than 2 weeks, pursuing a job with the Scandinavian Tobacco Group, and was renting an apartment while searching for more permanent accommodation. While heavily intoxicated on alcohol and illegal substances, VERBIST let himself into the woman's apartment on the night of June the 13th of 2014. He had the keys to the property because he worked as an occasional caretaker for the rental agents. He attacked Jensen as she slept and strangled her to death with a phone charger cable. VERBIST then doused her body in vegetable oil and set it ablaze. Responding firefighters put out the blaze and discovered the woman's charred remains in her bedroom. Fingerprints placed VERBIST at the scene, and he was arrested several days later in a local pub. The man, then in his early 30s, confessed to the murder under questioning and also revealed he'd killed before. 31-year-old Montse Mendez had been missing from her home in Girona since October of 2013. VERBIST told investigators that he'd fatally strangled her by accident while they were having intercourse. He then cut her body up into 8 pieces and dumped them at different trash bins outside the Catalan city. VERBIST apologized to Jensen's family and claimed that he had no idea why he'd killed her, claiming he was angry at himself. As of subsequent developments, he was due to face a separate trial for the murder of Mendez. Number 7. Jessica GALYON. In 2017, a Tennessee family sued the Roane County School District and a contractor for $4.5 million in damages, accusing them of negligence after a teenager was abused by a caretaker during school hours. 29-year-old Jessica GALYON, a married woman from Philadelphia, Tennessee, was said to have sent the male victim a number of flirtatious texts and messages. The teen had reportedly rebuffed her advances, which included an invitation to a hotel room, but GALYON persisted in her behavior towards him. He eventually confronted the woman who worked as a janitor at the Midway High School during school hours. It was then that GALYON pulled the teenager into a room and forced herself onto him. As reported by the lawsuit, it had been the first intimate encounter that the victim had ever had in his life. In the aftermath, his classmates started teasing him by referring to GALYON as his girlfriend. It led to a faculty member discovering the assault. About a month after it had occurred, the caretaker was arrested on related charges that included battery by an authority figure. Number 6. Kimberly MACKEY. On the evening of June the 24th of 2022, law enforcement in Charlotte, North Carolina responded to a call for service at a condo in Heathstead Place. They found the dead body of 35-year-old Bradley Womack and his living caretaker Kimberly MACKEY suffering from an undisclosed malady and needing medical attention. The 50-year-old woman was taken to a nearby hospital for treatment and subsequently charged with first-degree murder, concealment of a death, and abuse of a disabled adult. An arrest warrant revealed that Womack, who depended on MACKEY for support, died as a result of her actions. While the authorities didn't fully disclose the details surrounding his passing, it was reported that the woman had confined and restrained him in a place that was cruel and unsafe. His mistreatment had reportedly started on June the 20th, and he suffered a fatal physical injury as a result of being restrained. One neighbor was reportedly stunned upon hearing about the incident, noting that MACKEY seemed friendly and outgoing whenever she talked to her. The caretaker was held without bond on the murder charge while awaiting a court date. Number 5. ROSAMARIA MORENO. On December the 18th of 2021, a passerby in North Las Vegas, Nevada, found the body of 79-year-old MORENO Flores on the side of the road. The woman's body was clean, lacking any signs of a struggle or injury, with the cause of death believed to have been hypothermia. The ensuing investigation connected Flores' passing to her niece, 28-year-old ROSAMARIA MORENO, who'd been paid by the state to be her caretaker. The police reported that she'd dumped her aunt near Water Avenue and Stocker Street on December the 17th. A criminal complaint indicated that Moreno's motivations had been partly monetary in nature, as the state had stopped compensating her for Flores' care, room, and board. Moreno made her concerns known to the Silver State's Aging and Disability Services Division on the last day the elderly woman was seen alive. The reason the agency had stopped paying her was because agents had been denied access to the residence when they went to check that she was properly caring for Flores. Following her arrest for murder on February the 24th of 2022, Moreno was adamant that her aunt was alive when she'd dropped her off on the side of the road. Flores had reportedly wanted to go for a drive and was suffering incontinence issues. Moreno went on to say that she didn't realize her aunt was missing until 4 days after leaving her behind. She claims that the elderly woman had a tendency to wander off as a sufferer of Alzheimer's, dementia, and schizophrenia. Moreno had no valid excuse for not reporting her missing and had continued logging caretaker hours for the days she was absent. Number 4. Elizabeth CARSERINO. 70-year-old North Carolina woman Lynn Gay Keene was reported missing on July the 30th of 2021 after not contacting her family since mid-June. Detectives subsequently went to her home in Linville Falls, an unincorporated community in the mountains, and found that her Lincoln Town Car was missing. The vehicle was found on August the 2nd in Cherokee, with 2 empty bags of concrete in the back. Given the suspicious circumstances of the vehicle's discovery, law enforcement obtained a warrant to search Keene's home. Inside the basement, they found a large amount of flies near a mass of hardened concrete. They broke through the structure and discovered Keene's remains inside. Subsequent analysis indicated that she'd been strangled with a belt and suffered blunt force trauma to the head, which fractured her skull. 53-year-old Elizabeth CARSERINO, who also went by the surname Freeman, was identified as a primary suspect in her killing. The woman had been hired to be Keene's living caretaker after she'd fallen and suffered a brain injury. CARSERINO's employment had reportedly been terminated in June, but she continued living in the home until late July. On August the 2nd, she'd called one of Keene's family members to say she was staying in Maggie Valley with her son and only returning to Linville Falls to get some banking information from Keene's banking account. Still unable to contact the elderly woman, the family members alerted the authorities. Cell phone records placed CARSERINO in the same area where the Lincoln Town Car was found in Cherokee. She was arrested and charged with murder, vehicle theft, identity theft, and financial card theft. Number 3. Briar Askew. On August the 10th of 2021, North Carolina authorities went to the Wake Forest Baptist High Point Hospital in connection to a death investigation. An unidentified 21-year-old woman who suffered from cerebral palsy had been brought to the medical facility with a temperature of 110 and passed away shortly thereafter. The authorities subsequently arrested the woman's caretaker, 29-year-old Briar Askew, and charged her with second-degree murder. They determined that she'd abandoned the victim in a car outside, unattended for roughly 5 hours. In the peak of summer, excessive heat and humidity, coupled with the fact that the vehicle didn't have air conditioning, were identified as contributing factors in the young woman's death. Askew was booked at the Guilford County Jail in High Point under a $200,000 secured bond, and her lawyer refused to comment on the case in the immediate aftermath. Number 2. TIARA Lynn Ford. An Ohio caretaker was arrested in early March of 2022 after she'd recorded herself engaging in intimate relations with several male dementia patients at the assisted living facility where she worked. 23-year-old TIARA Lynn Ford had been employed as a state-tested nurse's aide at the Inn at University Village in Massillon. She had begun filming the assaults on her cell phone since early December of 2019 and continued doing so until December of 2021. Her victims were men in their late 80s and early 90s, some of whom couldn't even speak. As later noted by prosecutors, Ford would have been fully aware that the men's ability to consent or resist was severely impaired, either because of their advanced age or their mental and physical conditions. Ford was taken into custody after an investigation into reports of her depraved behavior and charged with multiple felonies. She voluntarily confessed to the assaults after her arrest. As always, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe, and maybe it will be your video that we'll be doing next. Number 1. Billy Kipkorir Chemamir. As of June 2022, Kenyan immigrant Billy Kipkorir Chemamir was indicted for the murder of 22 elderly women in Dallas, Texas, and its surrounding suburbs. According to the most recent updates, the police were still looking at Chemamir as a suspect in other deaths that were previously reported to have occurred naturally, potentially making him one of the most prolific serial killers in the history of Texas. He claimed most of his alleged victims, whom ranged in ages from 75 to 94, between 2016 and 2018. His work as a caretaker enabled him to gain access to his victims' properties. He was accused of stealing their valuables and then smothering them to death with evidence against him found in the form of cell phone data and the testimony of surviving victim Mary Annis Bartell, aged 91. Chemamir had broken into her home and tried to smother her at an independent living community for seniors in the Dallas suburb of Plano. On March the 18th of 2018, Chemamir was tracked down to his apartment and arrested, whereupon he was found in possession of keys and jewelry belonging to another elderly woman, 81-year-old Lou Ty Harris. She was found dead in her home, and evidence showed Chemamir tracking her at a Walmart in the hours leading up to her murder. The man pleaded not guilty to all the charges against him, but was eventually found guilty of Harris's murder on April the 28th of 2022. During his trial, the prosecution had presented a lipstick-smeared pillow as the murder weapon. The district attorney's office reported that they wouldn't seek the death penalty against him, and he was sentenced to life in prison. Nevertheless, Chemamir might still ultimately be given the capital punishment for the other cases still active against him. Thanks for watching. Would you rather live into your 80s and spend the last 20 years of your life in a nursing home, or only live into your 60s without doing so? Let us know in the comments section below.